Hello, hello.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Zonka?
I'm doing pretty good. So, I gave a small introduction. I'm gonna go ahead and do the go to the gameplay here so they can see. I gave a really small introduction to who you are, and that's all I said is you're Kaai, playing Slayer, and you're on TR. So I want to get a little introduction on you as a player, and that is how long have you been playing TERA?
I've been here since the official release, May, back in 2012.
Oh, so you've been around
And
for a long time.
yeah, I've been here. I wasn't a closed beta or open beta player, unfortunately. I was really busy at the time, but I got in here as soon as the gates opened and been here ever since. And I've been playing Slayer since day one. I love this class.
Awesome, cool. And I see that you're in anime. How long have you been in that guild?
I've been in anime for about 2 years now. I've been GM for over a year. It's been about a year and a month.
Really cool. Awesome. So I think we'll jump right into some of the details of the Slayer. I want to go through some of the simple beginning pieces of the Slayer first off, and that is going to be just talking about the gear. We'll start with crystals, and we'll go through your crystals very quickly. But let's talk about stat priority on your crystals. I see that you're using Keen in the accessories. Just crit factor all the way. Is there ever a time when you would not be using crit factor in PvE?
Um, I would generally prefer to use it all the time. Maybe if you roll crit rate on some other pieces of gear, you might not need all of the excess crit rate because sometimes with Slayer you don't really want to push it all the way like you would for some other classes. So I would generally say, yeah, carving keen versks are what you would generally want to go with. It's a pretty safe bet.
Okay. And then just rolling right into the weapon crystals. I'm just going to quickly hover over these. Is there anything particular that you wanted to be discussing about these, maybe different crystals you'd want to use for other encounters?
The bitter crystal and the savage crystal are pretty much, I think everyone can agree that you'll want to use those for just about any DPS class. The thing about the focused is with some of the in-game dungeons at the moment, if you don't purposefully enrage the boss in hard mode, such as SC hard mode, if you're doing something like that, it's good to be aware of how often the boss will enrage, because if they're not going to enrage until the last couple percents, it might do you a little better to use a pounding or a forceful over a focused. And when it comes to the carving, I know some people would want to replace it with either a pounding or a focused. Personally, I would go pounding because focus it adds 20 power. So it's a pretty nice buff, but you have to get an initial crit for it to start working. And there's just so much potential for it to be down that I personally don't like it. And I would just run with a pounding for a safe bet. But I like my carving.
Would you say that the pounding maybe is a better start for player learning encounters for the first time, and then maybe changing it a little bit later?
Yeah, if you're learning, I would definitely say throw in a pounding. I'm not going to say go all pounding. You should definitely run a back crit. But if you're a little iffy on your crystals and you're not sure which one you want to run, you're not really sure about the end game boss, you don't really have anyone to ask, pounding would definitely be the safer bet, and it's not a bad choice.
Okay.
So I would say go with that.
All right. And then we're looking at the chest piece. I am seeing just Hardy all the way through. Is there ever a time when you would not want to be running Hardy then?
The only time you would probably not have a full hardy on is if you're going to purposefully enrage a boss, and then
Mm-hmm.
you would want to go full poised. But generally, if you're starting out and if you're learning the class and the game in general, that's not really a situation you're going to put yourself in or find yourself in. So I would definitely say full hardy is your best bet. This way to go.
And for people watching and maybe experiencing Terra endgame content for the first time and wondering, wow, why are his crystals so good? These are just some of the better crystals that you can get and put in your gear. And you can actually find the green versions of each of these for a bit cheaper, I would say, especially when you're getting started and trying to gear up for the first time. These are just the names like Focused, Bitter, Savage. The name will stay, so you can find the green version of those. Moving on to the actual pieces, so the accessory pieces, I see Deathwise and Fire Trill on both of the ears, and I see healing skills affecting on the rolls on the Deathwise, and then resistance to periodic damage. Are those the actual rolls that you'd want to be going for on a Deathwise?
Well, the HP is pretty standard. You'll want the max HP. It's really good. And unfortunately, the resist periodic damage is just because I am terribly unlucky and I cannot get the rolls that I would like. So generally, no, you would not want a periodic damage. You would want to go with something like HP, and healing skills affecting you is a good one. I personally go with that. I mean, HP per 5 isn't the worst thing in the world either. It's better than periodic damage. But,
so if you replace the periodic damage, you would replace with what would be your favorite thing to replace periodic damage with?
Well, on that Deathwise Cascade, I would put HP on it, so I would have HP and healing skills affecting you.
Okay. And then on Fire Trill, we see that you've gone with rolling for the max HP and the healing skills, so that's probably just the same reason. You just had the opportunity to actually roll on the Fire Trill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And moving on to the rings, I see crit power and crit factor. That seems pretty straightforward. Is there anything else that you would probably want to roll for on there?
Honestly, no. Crit factor and crit power it's pretty streamlined. If you're DPS, that's just what you're gonna want on your jewelry. And the Deathwise band would be a Deathwise signet if I had the choice. However, I'm terribly unlucky, so I've seen like 2 and lost every roll. I just can't get a hold of one.
Okay. The rolls are still pretty good on there, though. All right, moving on to... We'll go to the Generation Belt. I see, again, power, crit factor. It seems fairly straightforward. And then feel free to mention anything if you want to talk about a specific piece, but I'm just going to kind of motor through like the brooch and stuff like that, too.
Yeah.
So see the intimates. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when it comes to the brooch, I run quick carve. I just like the attack speed and the crit rate on it. It's just my preference. Honestly, you'll always find slayers who will be like, oh, you have to go quick carve, or empowered. I would personally leave it to preference. I prefer quick carve. I would tell people to go quick carve. But when it comes to the rolling crit rate or power on belt and brooch, it's a very good place to kind of fill in the gaps. So I wouldn't be too worried. Like if you get double crit rate on your brooch, you can get double power, and it's the same thing. So you can kind of fill in the gaps there.
Okay. And then I see power on the innerwear, so the satin intimates. Would you want to stay with power on the intimates, or would you also go for crit rate there if you say rolled power on your brooch?
No, honestly, I've been thinking about my innerwears recently, and I liked power before, but the new golden innerwears, it's so much crit rate, it's really tempting. I would say either or is fine, depending if you want to lean towards more power or crit. But I honestly haven't had a chance to get a hold of a pair of crit panties to see what it feels like to wear them.
Okay.
So.
I hear you. All right, so then the necklace here, again, we see crit factor, crit power, just kind of straightforward stuff there.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to hover over the weapon, boots, and gloves. If there's anything specific that you wanted to mention on those, maybe a roll that you didn't get or something else, feel free to jump in. But I'm just looking at the weapon right now. I see damage when attacking. It seems kind of straightforward. Damage when attacking enraged. And I think we talked about the enraged thing a little bit earlier as well. Attacking from behind and attack speed. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the attack speed, you might find a couple people who are a little iffy on that. I prefer it. It's simply a habit coming from back when I played a long time ago with Queen, where attack speed was really pushed forward. It's always kind of stuck with me, but I like it because it lets you get off attacks faster. So when you go into dungeons, when you start feeling more comfortable with them, without the attack speed, I personally feel really sluggish. So I like to pick it up so I can get combos in between mechanics in a fight. Although you could easily roll a different stat on that, something like crit power, if that's what you want it to do.
And I see you went with intense. Is there ever a time to use anything other than an intense weapon?
Generally, you'll find intense is the best bet. Keen, not a very good choice. quick. Well, I wish I could make an argument for quick because I love the idea of double attack speed. I don't think it can beat out intense in the end. I might be wrong, but
Okay.
yeah, intense is just, it's safe.
So you kind of want to go and get some more get some more attack speed, but you feel in your heart that you need to stick with intense.
Yeah, I want that attack. I want it because not as fast as we used to be. I want it back.
All right, then the boots there, fairly straightforward. I see the replenish 1% of total MP. Does mana become an issue in PvE for Slayers?
If when you're first gearing up and you're first starting out, and you don't necessarily have all the mana potions or the luxury of a glistening diet or things like that, mana can be a little troublesome at times. You can run out of it pretty quickly, and you'll have to weave in auto attacks to get it back up. And a boot stat it's a nice place to fit in a little extra mana. So early on, when you're first starting to pick up gear, it can definitely be an issue that you might want to watch out for. Maybe pick up some mana potions. Ask your healer to mana charge or drop MP motes.
Okay. And that's always a good thing to remember as well. If you're going for any sort of progression content, whether it's progression content for your guild or you individually, having those extra potions and scrolls and all that kind of stuff it really goes a long way.
Yeah, consumables are really good.
And then looking at those gloves again, power, attack speed, crit factor. Again, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you'll see that on pretty much every DPS.
And then chest piece. I always like to call out the modifier of a skill because the chest piece actually has the skill modifier on it. So you got increased damage of overhand strike by 10%. Would you say that there's any other type of roll you might want to do on that one, or is it pretty straightforward overhand strike all the way?
I mean, I prefer overhand strike. I like it a lot. It's a skill you use a lot. I have kind of a knack for switching between overhand and whirlwind. I just really like whirlwind as a skill. So sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna roll whirlwind on my chest. But overhand strike, it's very safe. You spam it a lot. It's got a 50% reset glyph. You're going to use it pretty often. It's a good stat. It's definitely really good, that or whirlwind. But I would say go with overhand strike if you're not really sure what you're doing.
That's definitely a good message. If you're not sure, just go overhand strike. So raise max HP, decrease damage from enraged monsters, decrease damage from frontal attacks, and then just reduce damage overall. Again, pretty straightforward, just defensive stuff. That pretty much covers it for the gear there. Again, if people have specific questions about the gear, feel free to hold on to that question and ask near the end when we get to cover some more stuff. The glyphs should be getting shared in chat. If they haven't been shared, I will make sure to share them. I'll make Moobot listen to me, and we'll get your glyphs out there. Let me do that real quick. Beautiful. Thank you, Moobot. That way we can move on to how players should act in PvE. So this is going to be positioning, this is going to be damage rotations, anything like that. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We've got a Gula friend here. He's very weak, but we do have him here. And then you also have a friend from your guild that is going to be up here to help us demonstrate some stuff.
Yeah, she's here in case we might need any stars, because I run very frequently with priests, so I'm very used to having E-stars. Unfortunately, I can't find any mystics.
So let's talk about just Slayer mentality. Little shout out there. Let's talk about Slayer mentality in PvE, and I want to start with some of the basics, and this is going to be just movement kind of things. Where should a Slayer be positioned in a fight? Obviously, they need to be up near the boss, but what kind of positioning and what kind of mentality should a player have in their positioning for PvE content?
One real big advantage that Slayer has, and Warrior has this too, is that they are very easily stick to the back of a boss. Recently with Fate of R, and Slayer's got 2 rolls on evasive roll before it goes on cooldown, and that has done wonders to help position. And there's also a backstab, which will put you right behind the boss. So generally in a party where everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, tanks hold aggro, DPS or DPS, and you will want to be right on the back of the boss. And if you're not on the back of the boss, you'll be wanting to be making your way to the back. Because you have dash, which increases your movement speed by a very substantial amount. Backstab will put you right there. And you can even roll through a lot of bosses to just get right back to the back. And you're going to want to be very aggressive getting to the back so you can just output as much damage as you can get.
And I think that goes along with pretty much every damage dealing class in the game is trying to stick on the back there. One of the things that I want to talk about with Slayers as being right up next to a boss. What kind of I guess do you have any tips for new players on avoiding any sort of like damage, like solid damage that will kill Slayers? Because obviously Slayer's a little bit squishy. Any side of insight for that?
A little, well, if you're right where you're supposed to be and you're on the back of the boss, generally what'll be sent your way are things like side aggro attacks and maybe if he turns because I don't know, maybe the tank had a little mishap. Pretty much though, if you're on the back of the boss, you won't be evasive rolling too much. So just, remember that evasive roll, it's your best friend. It's very short cooldown. It's a very good iframe. So just, use evasive roll. But that's a little common sense. I'm pretty sure anyone could figure that one out. Other things would be if it's going to save your life, backstab even if you're on the back of the monster, because although it teleports you to the back, if you're at the back, it will still give you an iframe. And I'll backstab this mob here, so you can see that even if you're behind it, you'll go right back to where you are, and you'll get a short iframe, which in some cases can really save your life. It's very good. And for other evasion type skills, once you get a little bit more comfortable with a mob or a boss or anything of that sort, and you can understand like when Fulminar's turning around to throw a disc, and you can get a feel for where you cannot be standing. You can even use skills that don't have iframes like Leaping Strike or Startling Kick to get out of the way before the attack gets there. I wouldn't recommend trying to do that when you're still learning or you're very new and you don't understand a boss. But once you've kind of come to grips with him and his animations and you know where he's going to be going, you can kind of put yourself where you need to be before he can try to kill you with those skills. And the movement on them is really helpful. Fury Strike is a good one too. Depending on your race, it'll move you a good bit. And, if you can't iframe it, you can get out of the way of it pretty easily with a lot of Slayer skills.
This is probably just about getting used to the various skills that you have and probably sticking with evasive roll to start with and getting comfortable with that and then using all the other skills possibly if you need to as like an emergency.
Yeah, definitely. I would say backstab is a pretty long cooldown compared to evasive roll, so it's not something you would want to get used to using. It's more for repositioning than it would be to save your life. It's just kind of like, oh no, I really need to get out of this, so I'm a backstab to save myself, because burning backstab is much better than dying.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So let's talk about fighting at various bosses. I guess we'll start with some maybe some just basic idea for fighting bosses in comparison to playing another class, because maybe somebody's re-rolling a Slayer for the first time, and let's use an Archer as an example. How would you say the playstyle of a Slayer varies to the playstyle of maybe a class like an Archer or a Sork?
Ooh, okay.
Kind of a difficult question, I guess.
Well, no, yeah, it's very strange because they're, obviously one's melee and one's range, and
Sure.
I've gone from melee to range, and it's really off-putting to go from having to be so far away from the boss to right up next to it.
Right.
So definitely the adjustment there of having to be right on the boss. Tips for that for coming into the Slayer class is you have a lot of ways to survive and keep yourself alive with evasive roll and backstab. So no fear, just go behind the boss and hit him really hard. And if he tries to hit you back, just iframe to the other side of him, get away from him. But one thing I would definitely say is don't create range. You don't want to go like 15 meters back. Because then you're just kind of hanging out there and you're useless to your party. You're not doing anything for yourself. So just kind of get in the mind frame if you're going from a ranged class to a melee that you got to stick right there. And if you're going from another melee, say a berserker to Slayer, keep in mind that roll is not the same thing as dodge or dodge block. Block is in some situations less forgiving, some more, because if the boss doesn't go through your block, you can just block it and you don't have a care in the world. But if the boss does go through your block, you have to worry about it. Whereas with evasive roll, it doesn't matter. You go through pretty much everything.
It's getting the, and for people, I think we've said iframe a couple of times. For people that are new to the game, iframe just stands for like an invulnerability frame. So there's a period in the roll animation that you can see right there where you are unable to be damaged. And so you can avoid damage and lockdown skills. If the boss is about to one-shot you and you roll, you won't get hit by that stuff. So that's what we mean when iframe, when we use that term. All right. So we kind of covered some of the basics. I want to get into some more of the, maybe some pro tips and stuff for maybe current Slayers that they could learn from you. And I know you had a couple of ideas in mind. Did you want to just go through those now?
A couple of ideas for maybe current Slayers that are already playing the class.
It doesn't even have to be necessarily about that. Just some pro tips, I guess.
Pro tips? Oh man, you have to be pro to give those. I would definitely say, coming from other classes, playing them and them playing Slayer. One thing I've noticed is Slayers can do a lot of really neat things with their skills, and they have a little bit more freedom in them than other classes. Whereas, when an archer shoots pin arrow, well, they're just shooting pin arrow. When a sword fire blast, they're kind of just standing there. But Slayer, it really lets you move at your own pace. Like, for instance, Whirlwind, you can cancel it at any moment. So it's a really safe skill. So if you're not really sure what the boss is about to do next, but you don't want to lack in damage, you can just throw out a Whirlwind, hopefully with the knockdown strike buff if you're using that glyph. I know I put that in the glyph build, so remember your glyphs as well. But Whirlwind is a very safe skill compared to knockdown strike, whereas once you start it, you're committed to it. And trying to make sure I'm answering this question correctly.
No, that's good. That's good. I know there was some other stuff that we wanted to cover as well. I like to try and give, because there's plenty of players, and I'm going to use myself as an example, who have maybe played a Slayer, but I have no idea about the ins and outs, and some of the stuff that we go through, like what kind of crystals to be using, that kind of stuff helps me out for sure. And hearing those kind of things is really good. Just like the various uses of skills, when to use them. And then, of course, one of the other things that I wanted to cover is potentially having a skill list, I guess, like a combo. Do you have a damage dealing combo that you wanted to show?
Yeah, I can. And one more thing about specific skills, since you said it's really interesting, and it ties back into Whirlwind, is that Whirlwind is 2 swings, clearly, although it's 1 skill. And if you use something like Overpower, and Overpower will add damage, 30% damage base to the next skill you use. Overpower will only affect the first swing that hits. Oh. And the second swing of Whirlwind is much stronger. So I guess that's another thing to keep in mind with Slayer skills is Overpower only affects the next skill that does damage. And it's really interesting because if you hit a boss, for instance, Fulminar, when he goes into a shield phase, Overpower does not disappear until you do damage. So if you hit a shield and that damage is absorbed, you're still getting the 30% damage buff and the crit rate glyph until you actually deal damage, and then it'll disappear.
That's a good tip. That means you could probably get 2 out of him.
Yeah, so if you see that he's going in to a shield, it's the perfect time to Overpower. And also, I know some people at higher levels kind of neglect Overpower. Don't like Heart Thrust thrives with Overpower, so always get into the habit of Overpower Heart Thrust, and you'll see a very significant increase in DPS for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and can use that to tie into when it comes to DPSing. Usually if the boss is looking at the tank or standing still and they're not going to try to hit you, you get the first move, you'll want to open up with an Overpower into Heart Thrust, and then from there you eviscerate overhand and measured, and it'll flow really smoothly. And this is kind of where you can neglect when people are like, oh man, it's a spacebar class. Because if you spacebar, a lot of the problems with it is overhand chains out of almost every skill you have. It's crazy how many things.
Yeah.
So you can either, out of heart thrust, you can either overhand or eviscerate. And I'm pretty sure, if I paid attention recently, the chain skill will give you overhand before eviscerate. So if you're just hitting spacebar, you're going to overhand. And the problem with that is if you overhand and you don't get a reset after the eviscerate, you have to go straight into measured slice. Where if you have the glyph build that, say that I linked, this doesn't very much affect you. It doesn't really matter. In fact, you may even half the time get an extra overhand in. Cool, more DPS. But if you run a glyph that I know some people like, which is the power link from eviscerate into overhand, if you don't get a reset, you miss that 25% extra damage on overhand. Well, it's not necessarily something I would use. It's just kind of something you should know in case you choose to use it for some reason down the line. And yeah, and pretty much that's real bread and butter. It's just real simple. You'll find all of that linked right there. But you as a Slayer, you really want to play off of overhand because a lot of skills will chain out of it. So you can just backhand overhand, you can kick overhand. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of resets right now, which is really cool. And you know, you can just eviscerate overhand. So you're going to be using a lot of overhand strikes, and you'll see skills like you can just heart thrust overhand, and then apparently I'm really lucky while I'm on stream because it's reset every time. And so you just use it over, and it's just more overhand strike. But you also don't want to neglect things like knockdown strike, and then you'll cancel the ending animations of knockdown strike with overhand. And then even from there, it's really versatile because even from knockdown strike, you don't have to start with heart thrust. You can go into overhand, into eviscerate, and then to measured. Just the most important things that you really want to keep in mind is that if you're going to heart thrust, generally you should overpower unless you're spamming resets. Because if you're much luckier than me and heart thrust resets more often, you don't always have overpower off cooldown for it. Don't be afraid to use it. Heart thrust is a really high damaging skill. Other than that, if you're going to whirlwind and you run the knockdown strike glyph, make sure you have that glyph up so you get the 25% more damage off of it. And you're always going to run the eviscerate glyph that makes measured slice do 25% more damage. So you really have to make sure to not measured slice unless you have that glyph applied to you. And if you just use eviscerate, you'll have it for 8 seconds, and it's only a 2-second downtime as long as you're using eviscerate off cooldown. But that 25% is the difference between, you know, a 2.5 mil crit and a 3 mil crit. So you got to make sure it's there.
Now, is a lot of the instructions that you're giving on those different pieces of skills, is that based on using the glyph set that you've got, that you have linked for us as well?
With the whirlwind glyph, yes, knockdown strike to whirlwind, that's pretty much, you play off very much from your glyphs as a Slayer. That is one that you could switch up if that's what, I wouldn't, but if you wanted to, you could change that to something like more damage on overpower, or the eviscerate glyph for damage on overhand, whatever you want to do. But okay, you'll always have the measured slice damage on eviscerate, so that's something that I think no matter what your glyph build is, that's going to be there, and that's something you want to keep in mind. And overpower into heart thrust is definitely the same way. 30% more damage on your next skill is great. But when it comes to overpower, don't be if heart thrust is on a 15-second cooldown, overpower's on an 8, so you can obviously, the cooldowns match up, you can get another one in there. Don't be afraid to overpower like eviscerate or another hard-hitting skill. Slayers are very versatile in DPS rotations. As long as you're making sure you're taking advantage of your glyphs, you can kind of do it in whichever way you want, and as long as you remember things like distant blade, backhand, kick as filler for when your more harder hitting skills aren't off cooldown.
Very cool. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of information in there too for various skill combos. So I think one of the really good takeaways from that as well was being able to build the skills out, or at least the way that you use your skills out based on your glyph set, which is pretty cool. That in a lot of different classes, at least that I've had on, there's a particular like one really solid way to do your skill set for PV or for PVE rather. Like we've had Berserkers on and we've had Sorks on and stuff like that to talk about it. But this is so dependent on the glyph setup. It's actually really interesting.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, you have to keep in mind what glyphs you're using, and especially the situation, because overhand and eviscerate come out of so many different skills that if you need to get to that, what you really want to make sure you're getting out are your heart thrusts and your eviscerate into measured. That everything else can kind of just fall into place the way it needs to when you're DPSing. If things are off cooldown, just make sure you're getting to your eviscerate and your measured and your heart thrust, knockdown strike into whirlwind, and you can backhand, overhand, any combinations of them that you want to do that you're comfortable with or that the situation might find suitable.
And I'm gonna make sure to share the glyphs again in there because it's good to know what kind of glyphs that you were using. So I also wanted to talk about, since you mentioned that you didn't have a mystic friend to bring along, but I actually want to talk to you about the difference between group makeup with a mystic or a priest. Like, obviously we have a priest here, and we mentioned energy stars a little bit earlier, but can you give a little description of maybe how your play style would change if you had a mystic or a priest?
Unfortunately, if I had a mystic, I'd be a lot slower. I love E-stars. The attack speed off of energy stars, just, it's a nice buff because it's a real big chunk of power, and it's also attack speed. Because priests are going to offer, they're going to offer the power and the attack speed. Mystics are going to offer power and crit rate. I definitely prefer priests because as a slayer, you have a lot of glyphs that offer, triple crit rate, double crit rate. And then you're already going to be running, over 100 crit rate or so yourself. So you've brought most of the crit rate you'll need to the table. While more is better, you have enough. And priests, you can get that attack speed and the power and really buff up your skills, get everything out faster, just blaze through the combos and, execute it all. And then when you got to get out the way, you can get out the way. I'm a really big fan of attack speed because I love just getting all of the combos out. That way you don't have to worry about getting animation locked, because knockdown strike animation locks you, heart thrust animation locks you, and you can just die so often from those skills.
Fair enough. And I haven't asked this question before to anybody else, but I want to ask you, do you have a preference on a tank then, like a warrior versus a lancer? It seems like a lot of people would prefer a lancer, but what do you have to say about that?
It depends on what dungeon I'm doing. If I'm doing something like SC hard mode, I would prefer a lancer, simply for infuriate, because warriors don't have that at the moment. But if I'm running something like BR hard or SC normal, where they enrage pretty often, I'm not particularly concerned about what the tank is. It's just, both are cool. Debilitate's cool. Traverse cut and combative are fine. Ideally, I'd have a lancer tank and a warrior DPS with me though, so I guess, yeah. I guess tank's not really much of a concern for me. As long as they're holding aggro, they can stay.
There you go. For all you tanks out there, all you have to do is hold aggro for Kaai to be happy. All right. Well, we've covered a lot of various things in here, and I know I've got a list of stuff I usually like to cover, but I wanted to ask you if there were anything particular in PvE that you wanted to talk about now as well.
Anything in particular in PvP or PvE, not PvP? I'm bad at that.
Yeah, just anything you wanted to. Now's a good time to mention that, because we usually like to cover a few different things, and a lot of it I like to base around players that are just getting started. But in a lot of cases, the way that I frame this is maybe something that you see other slayers doing wrong that you'd like to call out and say, you shouldn't be doing it that way. You should do it this other way.
I'd have to say, I kind of touched on it earlier, which is when, the boss gets a little spooky and hits them and they get low on health. And so they kind of get a little afraid of dying. So they'll like come out and they'll put a lot of distance, like, 10, 15 meters between them and the boss. That is not something you should, if you have that habit, you should really break it. It does you no favors. And actually you could probably die, because if you fight a boss a lot while you're melee and then you go ranged, you might not be very familiar with what's about to happen to you, and you could just kill yourself, or get yourself out of range of your healer. It can potentially cause more problems than anything. And when you're low on health, the Slayer class actually has a skill called Fury Strike, which does more damage. And that was it right there. It's really fast. It's just a simple swipe, but it does more damage the lower your HP is. So when you get that red jelly on the side of your screen, don't get spooked. You got to think, all right, I have to get this Fury Strike off before the healer heals me, because you can get really good damage with Fury Strike. So if you get low on HP, just don't panic. Just orientate yourself and get that Fury Strike off. Keep doing damage. Your healer should have you. Hopefully. I hope.
maybe pop a potion if you really feel
if you get a little spooked, pop a potion. There's always good. And that's another thing, is always this is more for just players in general, is always remember your consumables, because you have a healer, but there are four people they have to worry about. So they're not always going to be able to get to you. You have to be able to be a little self-sufficient in pot, and for HP or MP. Make sure you have things like your scrolls, like your crit scrolls for extra damage, because they make a world of difference in your DPS, and they can very much save your life. I can think of multiple moments a warding scroll or even just a normal health potion has just made the difference between life or death.
Awesome. All right. So was there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we kind of open the questions up to all of the wonderful stream viewers?
Is there anything I wanted to bring up? I would say I know I've seen some people talk about race, race for their classes.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer Castonic Male, mainly for dirty fighting, because it has a really cool name. But it gives you 1% more crit chance from behind, and I just love that. I love crit chance. That's why I like the carving crystal. It's great. But every race they vary a little bit in certain skills. For instance, like Castonic Male has a not very favorable knockdown strike, whereas Castonic Female has a very nice knockdown strike. And then there are subtle differences, like in Amon, their Fury Strike will only move them 4 meters, where a Castonic Male will move them 6. So you're going to find differences in the races, but nothing that's really going to make or break how you play. If you adjust to it, you'll do well with it. So don't worry too much about it. But just pick whichever one flows best with you. Me, it's Castonic Male, because I get that range with Fury Strike and other little meaningless things that make me feel really cool when I DPS. Like, I mean, look at this dude's roll. Do you see that? It's too cool. I can't get over it.
It's pretty baller. I mean, it's pretty good roll. I mean, especially he's holding out his sword and he's not getting cut by it while he's doing that forward roll. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's rolling over it. It's cool. It's cool. But Amani, they have that one-handed heart thrust, and I'm leveling an Amani Slayer just for that heart thrust.
They pull it back and they just like shove it forward.
Oh, dude, I can't get over. Every time I see an Amani Slayer, I'm like, you, sir, you have a very good taste.
I like that. In PvP, there's a lot of different classes have either one or maybe two race gender combinations rather that people prefer that they play those particular ones on. It sounds like with Slayer and PvE, it's kind of cool that anybody can probably play any different race, and it sounds like it'd be okay. It's just personal preference then.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, most PvE it's like that. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't require as much fine tuning as PvP does, because in PvP that 1 or 2 meters on a Fury Strike is the difference between a stagger or not a stagger, and that's huge in a Skyrim match. Whereas in PvE, it's just you have an extra meter on your Fury Strike.
Sure, yeah. All right. Let's see if we can take some questions from chat. We've got about 15 minutes until we're going to be closing up shop for the stream. We'll see if there's any questions in there. So this is a good time. Those of you guys out there, if you have a question for Kai about Slayers or about maybe about anime, maybe about you in general, I don't know. But while we're waiting for some of these questions to come in, I actually want to ask you, I didn't ask this earlier, where did you get the name Kai from?
Where did I get the name Kai from? Well, once upon a time, a long, long time ago, when I first started playing TERA, I actually picked Ellen as my initial race. And at the time, I was a very big fan of Vocaloids, which it's a really neat thing. But I liked a lot of the music from it, and obviously the really popular ones like Miku and all that were taken. But I just kind of wanted to reflect my hobbies at the time with my name. So I picked a really lesser known one, and one of the smaller, younger Vocaloids, her name's Kaai. And well, my character was small and a girl. That one was small and a girl, so I just picked up Kaai, and I changed the Castonic male, and it just stuck. And also, Kai's a really cool character in Beyblade. That dude's just like too much swag. You don't even know.
Good, that's cool. That's good. Let's see here. So I think we've probably got a couple of questions in here. Does Ellen work for Slayer? Oh man, go ahead, answer that one.
Okay. Personally, I played Ellen. There's a reason I switched. I mean, I know a lot of Ellen Slayers. They make it work. They like it. Me personally, I don't like the animations. They don't flow very well for me. I feel really cumbersome as an Ellen. So it's not my thing. I mean, sometimes I'm tempted for the cosmetics because cosmetic mark is a little unfair, but no, you can make it work. I believe in you if you try.
One question is, what is the benefit of a glistening dyad?
Yo, all right. If you're, this is like, if you're at the point where you're getting dyads, glistening dyad will change your life. I haven't had to pot in weeks. It's so much, because it stacks up to 4 times. So I have 2 glistening hardy Niveots. So I like every crit on the back, I get 2 stacks. So 2 crits, I'm at a max of 4. And the stacks will give you, I think it's 60 MP over 3 seconds. And well, when you have 4 stacks, it's a lot of MP. So it's game changing. I loved it. I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal when I got them, but man, glistening dyads are really good.
So if you can get access to a glistening dyad, you should probably use it.
Yeah, just like 2. I mean, don't be too worried about it. Don't try to get all 4. I mean, if you're that much of a baller, by all means, do what you gotta do. But I personally wouldn't. I like 2.
Let's see here. Frosty Divine, as a question for me, are you ever going to bring back Slayer Glyph of Sap? I don't know. I'm not aware. I haven't heard any news of any sort of return of glyphs. But if it does come back, it'll be in a patch note, so keep your eyes out for that. Is Anime ever going to try a score run?
I mean, I'm not going to say no, maybe. I know personally right now, I'm not very interested in score runs. A lot of the guild isn't very interested in score runs. It's just kind of just doing other things. Crusades aren't very interesting for us. So I don't know, maybe if people want to. But I don't want to. You won't see me in a score run. That's boring.
Is Slayer a glass cannon?
I mean, you're squishy. You're not going to get 1 shot. Maybe 2 shot, but not really 1 shot. No, and no, I wouldn't say it's a glass cannon.
Let's see. Pure Sugar asked a question. It was kind of specific, but I'm going to ask you: is lag a very big issue for Slayer? Obviously, lag in general, ping is going to be problematic when it starts to get above a certain level for any class. But would you say that ping is more of an effect on Slayers than other classes?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you can catch these questions in chat. I can see. I'm like, where do you see? Oh, it's up there. But ping with Slayer, I'd imagine, it's like you said, after a certain point, it'd make a very big difference. I'm not sure what that point is because I have pretty decent ping. I've never really met any Slayers with really high ping. I've met other classes with high ping, and they seem to do very great. So I don't see why high ping would be too bad. I mean, you won't be able to do a lot of the things that someone with low ping would, but you could get good enough. You could go far enough to like clear content. I don't see why not. I might be horribly wrong though. I've never had an experience with high ping, so don't quote me, please.
And the number that Pure Sugar put out was 200 ms, which is not really all that bad. In PvP, it feels like ping is a huge advantage if you have lower ping over like 200 ms is going to be pretty tough in PvP to be competitive with, but 200 ms in PvE content, you should be okay With any
Maybe
class, just
that's
about.
a lot of ping. I don't know.
It's up there, yeah. I would say probably anything over like 150 starts to get kind of weird. Like when I play at home, I play usually with around 70 to 80, and when I play at the office, I get 40, and I really can't tell the difference between those two. So
Let me get that 40 ping.
what's that?
Let me get that 40 ping. I got
You
like
gotta get that
70 to
business
90.
internet.
Yeesh, I want that.
I know, right? I wish I had it at home too. Let's see. Is Slayer forgiving if you take a hit? I think we kind of talked about that. It's the glass cannon thing, I guess.
Yeah, a bit. You're leather. You're kind of squishy. I mean, when you get past certain, like obviously when you go into like SC hard mode and things like that, it's not forgiving to anyone. But in BR hard mode and stuff like, I'd say you could take a hit. You can make a mistake, get messed up, and still not die. But I hope that doesn't encourage you to make mistakes. You should try very hard not to get hit.
I think that goes with just about every class. Unless you're a Lancer, and then if you're getting hit, hopefully you have your shield up.
Oh, yeah, well, then you just soak up all the damage.
Yeah.
Also, tell your Lancer to pledge as often as possible, and then just eat all the hits. Just hey, man, can you pledge real quick? All right, and then you just jump into a Fulminar disc.
Oh, I see how it is. That's bad. Let's not let's strike that from the record. Yeah, let's strike that from the record. Someone's gonna try Fulminar for the first time and be like, "Pledge, I should get in the. I'm gonna catch the blade."
It'd be funny. Oh, yeah, that was a joke. My bad.
Let's see here.
I see a good one. What's the in cold blood combo?
Oh.
In cold blood, overhand all day. And that actually reminds me of something, and I'll get a little bit more into the combo in a sec. When you go into in cold blood, not only you should be careful because it will reset your knockdown strike, heart thrust, and whirlwind. So you can use those skills and then pop ICB, and then you have them right back. So it's a really good burst in DPS. But when it comes to overhand strike, when you pop ICB, you are now in ultimate overhand strike, which means your stat rolls, Noctinium, glyphs won't affect overhand anymore. I tried this out a while ago, and you'll even notice that it'll be white instead of yellow if you have Noctinium on. So it's not necessarily something that's going to like change much, but it's something to keep in mind. And yeah, it's crazy. But generally, you'll want to like overpower heart thrust, just overhand as much as possible. You know, if you get heart thrust resets, you can heart thrust overhand as many times as RNG will let you. Hopefully yours is better than mine.
Well, apparently all you need to be is you need to be streamed, and then you'll get all the heart thrust resets.
Well, let's see if it works for heart thrust. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work for heart thrust.
No, I guess not.
It's still working for overhand, though. This thing has not gone on cooldown. Like, I need to bring you into dungeons. Let's go SC hard mode, Tonka.
Yeah, I'll just go in and I'll just watch.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm trying to get caught back up with chat. I think there was a couple of questions. What's the general rotation of skills we should be using? We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier in the stream, so you can go back and check that out.
I wish I could give more of a clear-cut answer, but it's not like Sork where there's just a line and you just skip where you need to. It's kind of need like a flow chart. Might be a little better.
Slayer PvE flow chart be all over the place.
Overhand, yes.
We might have to do that. That'd actually be kind of fun.
You think so? That'd be kind of cool. Maybe. I'll break out the MS Paint.
I was thinking we get somebody here to make it.
Oh, you all right? Oh, yeah, you'll do a better job. I'm sure you guys are better at MS Paint than me.
I'll get one of our creative services guys to make an image for us. Otherwise, yeah, if I was doing it, it'd be MS Paint too. It'd just be garbage.
We can agree on that.
Let's see here.
Pure Sugar is asking. Oh, this is a question that's near and dear to me. They want to know the best Slayer weapon skins.
Oh,
all right. See, right now I have on my back the Odachi. This is just, you don't get better than this because it's got the black, the white, the gold. You see the suit, it's got the black, the white, the gold. Can't get better than that.
Mm-hmm.
But Time Splitter is cool too. It's a little hard to get, but I would definitely say go with something like Odachi, Time Splitter, Even the dragon weapon skin. I actually kind of want the dragon weapon skin that's on fire. That's just so edgy. I can't pass it up. I'm not gonna lie. It's really cool.
Oh man. Well, okay. Well, so since we talked about weapon, let's talk about the costume.
Oh, all right. First of all, the suit is amazing. If you're gonna buy a cosmetic, it's got to be this suit. I'm not a very big fan of all the other male castonics. I mean, if you're into tuxedos, TERA is your game because all males get are tuxedos. So I hope you like those. But I'm wearing the suit right now because I thought for you, Tonka, I'd get a little dressed up, be a little snazzy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, but I actually picked this up from the fashion coupon store when it first came out. I love this template. It looks like leather armor and it's really cool. I can forgive the little leg thing. I don't know what's going on down there,
That is very, very strange. It's very JRPG with the leg. I'm surprised there's not more belts.
Definitely, but I'm a big fan of the lore, and this has the Federation insignia. Kind of, brings me back down to the lore of the game when I go through High Watch and there are too many police cars and and flamingos and Malore.
I dig the shoulders too. Actually, I really like the leather on the shoulders.
Yeah, the Regents template is cool too. I like that, but I wore that for way too long. I can't look at it anymore.
About 90% of the reason why I pick a race gender is because of the way that the gear looks on it. So
yeah,
I dig that. I like that for sure.
Yeah, this is real cool. I've seen this on a Mon, on a human female, and a couple other, and I'm actually really satisfied with this template because it looks really good on a lot of races. I think only Castonic female cloth looks a little weird just because I got this weird collar thing going on. I don't know. I'm not really into it, but it's a really good. So if you got some fashion coupons and you don't want to spend any gold, pick the Federation template up. But if you want to go like real ballin', you got to get this suit because you can dye the inner shirt too. Just come on, just look at it. Take a sec. I do, especially if you're human male. Human male looks so good in this suit. I swear, they look so good.
Not biased at all.
Well, I'm a Castonic, so no, not really.
Well, let's see what else we got here. Some random questions for me. This is more questions for you. That's what I'm trying to find.
Me too. Let's comb through.
Let's see. So I saw that one. If you see any questions, feel free to read it out as well.
No. I see somebody asking about backstab. It's for PvP, though. Although it is kind of a problem that I think newer players should know about, is sometimes if you use backstab, it won't teleport you. You'll get a very dreaded message that you'll cringe when you see it, and it says, you cannot travel there. It makes you really sad because you probably just died. But usually backstab will mess up if your target goes behind something, like a pillar, or if they're on not so level ground. Usually in PvE, that'll be the problem if you're in the open world, is backstab will move you forward, left, right, backwards, but it's not a very big fan of going up for some reason.
Let's see. The stream is getting weird. We're just talking about cosmetics. Come on. Talk more about crit power, please.
Crit power?
What do I don't know what we say.
I mean, use your onslaught scroll and make sure you got your savaged, your focused, your bitter, and I mean, roll your jewelry, and that's all the crit power you'll ever need. I promise. I'm not really sure what they'd be asking about it. I mean, if they were a little more specific, I would try.
Yeah, let's see. Emery. Let's see. Did you say talk more about crit power, please? What specifically did you have questions on? Because we got Kai. Kai can answer.
Hopefully, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. You can say something. Hopefully, you'll have an answer.
I will make it sound like I know the answer.
There you go. Let's see.
Is Castonic female better or equal for Slayer? Better or equal to male? They have their pros and cons. For female, I love their knockdown strike. I hate their whirlwind. It's reverse for male. I hate their knockdown strike, love the whirlwind. Castonic female actually has a really nice roll. So they have their ups and downs. I'd say they're pretty much equal. They're just a little different, whichever one fits you best.
Let's see. Do Slayers have the highest DPS in the game? Oh man, the $1,000,000 question.
I'm not gonna pretend like I know that. I'm gonna make a lot of people mad at me if I answer that question. I don't want to start that fire. I don't. I do a lot of DPS. That's all I know.
Oh, there you go.
That's all I know. And you too. You too can do a lot of DPS. That's all you should be worried about, friends.
There you go. Let's see. Any gear tips for new players since you guys just launched on Steam recently?
Ooh.
I think that'd be a fairly decent question. Let's cover. So leveling up is fairly straightforward. I mean, as you level, if you follow the story quest and you follow just other quests as well. Story quests probably more important. You'll get gear as you level, and then you can get your get relic pieces, and you can build your weapons that way. But at 65, if you follow the story quest, you get Idonial, and then after that. Let's talk about that a little bit. What would you recommend players do after they just hit 65, they get Idonial? What would you say?
After Idonial, well, one thing about gearing there's a little bit to go with it is if you have friends and you have a guild or people you can rely on, if you can go straight into BR hard mode and SC normal mode, and maybe they'll forgive you if you floor tank a little too much because you're under geared, then do that, go straight for disco. But if you're kind of like on your own, you're starting out, you should definitely try to make some friends because, I mean, it's an MMO and friends help a lot. I love my friends. But try, go ambit, plus that up a little bit. Maybe don't try to like plus 12 it or anything. And just try to get into some ambit and then move up. And you'll just have to do the gear climb. Hopefully you can find some friends that'll help you with a little bit of gear. And if for some odd reason you're in the very awkward situation where you know how to make gold, but you're not quite able to get into dungeons, you can always buy disco from other players. That helps. You know, I know people who sell disco. You can help them out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but definitely just if you have friends, try to see what dungeons they'll help you out with. If you don't, and you're all kinds of lonely, good luck. But get into some ambit, try to get that disco, and disco's all you really need.
That's fair. Yeah, that's and you can find a lot of these different the different pieces of gear and stuff like that. The ambit, discovery, which is disco. Those pieces you can find just in the dungeons when you get to 65, and you can find a lot of guides out there. There was a guide that we posted just about a week ago, I think, on our homepage. You can also go into the guide section of the forums. There's a lot of really good information out there that players are providing for newer players to assist with the kind of the shock of hitting 65. Because I know for current players, the going from Idonial, some players like to skip ambit, some players don't skip ambit, they +9, they don't +12. You know, like there's all these little things that maybe new players don't know. You can find a lot of that information in the forums and of course on that guide that I was talking about. And you can find the guide on TERA.nmass.com. If you scroll down a little, you'll find it.
I see somebody asked what are my thoughts on rolling CDR on a weapon. I personally don't like it. I don't think it helps you very much. I think I've seen some people go like CDR. They use crazy things like energetic etchings. The most I can say is all that'll really help you with is it'll lower ICB's cooldown. I don't really think you need to lower it. I mean, you can do other things outside of ICB. So I'm not a fan of cooldown reduction. I mean, maybe somebody could put a good argument for it. I just personally wouldn't. I would say go with a more influential role on the gear, something that'll make a little bit more of a difference.
Very good.
Yeah. And Synergy asked me what my favorite part of this game is. It used to be the combat, but oh, stop clicking my pen, sorry. But now it's honestly being a GM. I love being guildmaster of my guild simply because getting to meet all the people and helping them enjoy the game and get the things that they need done. It's been great. It's like the past year for me and TERA has been the best, and I hope it keeps going. I love the people in my guild, and I love helping them out. I love them helping me out. It's great.
Yeah, and for those of you guys out there starting up Terra for the first time, look for a guild. Guilds are really awesome ways to find players that will be able to help you out as well, especially for newer players, in helping you with a lot of this knowledge. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a shock to ask strangers for help if you have a question, but when you join a guild, there's just a lot of really great guilds out there, and you can find a lot of that kind of stuff, again, on the forums. We also have an official guild finder, and, of course, you can just look for like-minded players while you're playing through the game and join them up. Join a guild. It's really just the best experience you can have is being in guilds with people. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Like, just find a guild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And meet people. Be sociable. Come on.
I think we are probably good on a lot of those questions. I think we've gone a little bit over. Usually we try and shoot for an hour, but we'll make sure that we do some giveaways. I wanted to give you the opportunity. Do you have any shout outs? You want to say anything awesome to everybody out there on any server, I guess, around Tempest Reach? Any last minute shout outs?
I mean, I could go down my guild list, but but no, definitely I'd want to give a shout out to everyone who's done these Teach Me How to streams before. I hope I've done at least half as good of a job as they have. I see now it's a little nerve-wracking getting up here in front of everyone, so good job to everyone who's done these and who will do these. Other than that, my guildies, Yosha, he's a great part of the community. I'm sure you all know him. I always got to say congrats to him. He's a great guy to get to know. Icy too with her stream. Go check her out. It's like War Saber, I think.
War Saber's been talking in chat as well. You can see the
yeah, I've seen her. She's the one that told me to stop clicking my pen. She's yelling at me. Yeah, and I mean, bringing it down to earth, people that have been in the guild from the beginning, like my man Coco, Iris, and especially Kian. Anime wouldn't be much of what it is today without people like that. So I really appreciate them, and thanks for everyone watching, and thank you, Tonka, for letting me come up here and share a little bit of my experience with people. Absolutely.
And where can they find you? Do you have a YouTube channel or blog or a Twitch channel that they can go to?
I wish I had a YouTube, but I place hair on a toaster, so the most they can do is make bread into toast.
I'd watch that.
I'm glad one of us would. I do have a Twitch.
I think I lost the link. I think
come on, Tonka.
If you post in chat, I'll set it up.
I'll get the link. But I haven't streamed much recently. I'll try. Like, I've been meaning to. If people poke me like, "Hey man, get on stream," I'll be like, "All right, I'll stream something." But
incoming harassment.
Oh, it's okay. I like talking to people. And if anybody out there is kind of new, if you're on Tempest Reach, if you have any questions, like, feel free to whisper me. I'll try to help you out the best I can.
That's really cool. And I know there's a lot of new players on Tempest Reach as well. It's cool that they have somebody that's around. I always am excited whenever I'm playing on one of my other characters and stuff like that to see a lot of these people that I get to talk to on these streams. I really do like doing these Teach Me How To streams because I get to meet so many different people from different guilds and stuff like that, and it creates a cool community at the very top for me to recognize. So I always like having people on from various guilds and stuff like that. It's really neat.
Yeah, I know. I love coming up here helping y'all guys out. Oh, and also thanks for the Christmas card. You signed that. I got that earlier in the year. I appreciate that. That was actually I didn't expect that. I just checked my mail and I was like, hey, it was really neat. I like that a lot.
Okay.
My guildie just poked me. He's like, say your Tumblr. I don't log into Tumblr anymore. Sorry. If you can find me, it's like, I think my name's like Kai's Tumbling, something like. I don't really use it anymore. Maybe.
The mission is on. Find Kai's Tumblr.
No hate mail, please.
All right, let me make sure this is going.
Okay.
No, guess Twitch didn't work.
Oh man.
Man, I am a failure.
It's okay.
I should be kicked out of these streams. I'm done for.
I'll take your spot.
All right, you're coming in from now on.
All right, yo, Manea, what's good?
All right, well, I think that'll do it for the stream. Again, thanks a lot for coming on. I linked the Twitch stream in chat. For everybody that wanted to go back and listen to some of this, if you came in near the end of the stream, This will be going up on YouTube. We'll have the past broadcast, of course, will be available. I'll set up a highlight, all that good stuff. And, of course, Kai is on Tempest Reach, so if you want to harass him to go stream on Twitch, there you go. He said it's okay.
Oh, man. I know I see some people like, does he even stream? Because I haven't streamed in a while. I'll try to stream, I promise.
Everybody says that.
Try. Don't quote me on that, though.
Everybody says that when they come on. I'm like, do you have a Twitch channel? They're like, yeah, but I don't stream, but I think I should. And then they never do.
Sometimes they just need a little push.
Break the mold, Kai.
I'd be like, hey, make a stream.
Uh-oh, Miss Bun Buns found it, I think.
I've been found. Oh, no.
Your Tumblr is out there.
Oh, no. I post, like, some TERA stuff. It's mainly literature, because I'm an English major, so...
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, there's not much TERA there. I reblog stuff, though. It's kind of cool.
Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to always be all about TERA. I mean, obviously, we're talking about TERA, and we want to cover TERA stuff. But if you've got a personal blog and people can go and check you out, it's always cool to do, too.
Come on, Tonka. This is serious business, dog.
I know. Anybody that's watched these streams knows I'm an extremely serious person, and I take things extremely seriously. So I'm very disappointed in myself for breaking mold, and I apologize for.
Oh man, you got to write that letter.
I know, right? All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, and once again, guys, this Twitch stream is being linked in chat. I'm gonna link it one more time, so make sure to check him out. Give him a follow.
Yep. All right. Thanks for having me on. Have a good time.
Thanks. Have a good one. All right. So that was Kai of Tempest Reach talking a little bit about the wonderful Slayer class. Thanks again for coming on to him, and of course to Anime for loaning their GM and another member over here. We'll give a quick shout out. How do you say it? Raikanya? We'll say that. I don't know how to say it. I'm terrible. I'm awful at names. I think that's part of the love of the stream is just trying to get me to pronounce things that I don't know how. I'm an awful person. All right, so we're going to do giveaways before we end the stream. It's about 6:11 local time, so we want to make sure that we get these done and then allow you guys to get back to your TERA business. So if you want to participate in these giveaways, it's really easy. We're going to give away 5 permanent account-bound bear mounts. They have no statistic property, no regen property, but you could still win a free account-bound bear mount. We have pandas, brown bear, and the white bear. I'm going to give away 1 of the brown bear, 2 of the white bear, and 2 of the panda. So we're going to kind of spread it out a little bit. So it's really easy. All you have to do is be signed into Twitch with your Twitch TV account and be following the channel. That's really all there is to it. And we'll be doing, we'll pull the names. I'll do 2, then I'll do 2 again, and then we'll finish with the final one. So make sure you hit that follow button now if you want to be eligible to win. Hitting the follow button also gets us closer to those social goals. I think we're supposed to, what are we supposed to get, 100,000? If Harmonia's around, maybe she'll link it for us. But you could tell all your friends to come in and make sure that they follow the Twitch channel. 100,000? No, maybe it's 75. What are we? 60? I don't remember what we're doing. I'm so lost. Oh, there it is. Somebody posted it. Let's see. What's our goal? I'm terrible person. 75. All right. So if we hit 75,000, our Panda Super Box is going to be out, and we're also going to have some people win the Steampunk DLC pack, and that's the social contest. It's been shared on our Facebook, our Twitter. It's been shared on Twitch as well, and I believe, let's see if Harmonia or Minnie has posted. I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's 75K for Twitch, 100,000 for Steam, 100,000 for YouTube, 100,000 for Twitter, or 275,000 for the Facebook. So let's hit it. So let's get there. Let's do some giveaway. There's no music. I'm going to turn up some music here. That way there's a little mood music in the background. So it's not just me breathing into the microphone while I do giveaways. This is very pleasant. No, don't spam raffle. Ugh. Uh-oh. Snuggles Bears just got put up here. Oh, no. See, now this is compromised. This spot is compromised. It's compromised. I'll have to use a different one next time we do on TR. Snuggles Bear is creeping me out.